This is why Jahmyr Gibbs should be the #1 off your fantasy board this season. When Dan Campbell took over the play calling in week 11, Jahmyr Gibbs' high snap share percentage was 69%. After Dan Campbell took over the play calling, that was his very low, reaching as high as 86% in 1 week. And being able to play in the Detroit Lions system, he is a plus 650 favorite to win the Offensive Player of the Year award this season. This O-line did finish 12th last season, which is actually underperforming, and even though they lost Penei Sewell, they decided to draft Blake Miller with their first round pick, who has already been considered the most pro-ready offensive tackle. Gibbs is also going into his 4th year of his rookie contract, which means the team has an option to bring him back next season, but typically teams like to pay their players who have already proven their worth. And for those who don't remember, Detroit Lions were incredibly high on Jahmyr Gibbs, taking him a full round above expectation, and the night of the draft, the GM just lost his mind whenever...
With the 11th pick, the Tennessee Titans select Peter Skoronski.
Tell me, is that somebody they might be on the fence about? Dan Campbell is a player coach. He is going to get Jahmyr Gibbs paid. And lastly, Dave Montgomery is now in Houston, and I've seen every Chiefs game for the last 5 years. I can tell you without a doubt, Isaiah Pacheco isn't that good at football. The biggest separator of all separators is being drafted in the 2nd round this year. Brock Bowers was the only player to win the John Mackey Award twice in college. He was one of the highest tight end prospects whenever he was drafted 13th overall, and then he had the best rookie tight end season of all time, and then he followed it up with that sophomore slump year. Even in a disappointing season, he still managed to average 15 points per game, which was good for 2nd overall amongst all tight ends, and if he hadn't gotten injured, it wouldn't have been as disappointing. On top of the injuries, he had to deal with boomer coaching and awful quarterback play. To solve those issues, they brought in Kirk Cousins, and they drafted Francisco Mendoza 1st overall. Then they brought in the absolute wide receiver in bosses, Clint Kubiak. He is responsible for 3 career years out of Justin Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk, and JSN in the last 5 years. And in those 5 years, his leading receiver is averaging over 1,300 receiving yards. It's hard to imagine that guys like Jalen Naylor or Trey Tucker are going to get this massive workload. Maybe they bring in a vet like Deebo Samuel, Steph Diggs, but I can't imagine this work going to anybody other than Brock Bowers. He is going to be not just the tight end 1 this year, but the tight end 1 of all time. I've been pounding the table on Rashee Rice since March. He was the very first person I made a video about. When he's actually been on the field the last 2 years, he has been one of the most productive wide receivers, finishing 5th and 7th in fantasy points per game. He needs a good season. Rashee Rice has the highest variance of possibilities when it comes to his next contract talks. If he has an off season, he could be making $100 million less on his next contract. And the very best he can probably hope for with the Chiefs would be a franchise tag, which isn't guaranteeing very much. So he needs a good season. I think he's the biggest beneficiary of the Kenneth Walker ad this offseason. Going to free up space in the intermediate area, and between the linebacker and the safeties is where he likes to work. Combine that with the condensed offense of the Chiefs. No more Juju, no more Hollywood Brown. It's just Kelsey, him, and Thornton. We are getting actual reasonable prices on these Chiefs for the first time in ages, and I am a buyer of all these guys. Because Rashee Rice is sinking back into that 2nd round, and I'm sure he will end up being a late 2nd round pick like he was before all the off-field stuff. I wanted to add one more player, and that player is Garrett Wilson. I know it's hard to pick a Jet. Geno Smith isn't much of an upgrade, but they are top 5 in strength of schedule. He was #1 in Dominator rating. His target share is going to be massive because A.D. Mitchell and Omar Cooper are downfield receivers. He's a first-round talent going into the late 3rd round, and he was actually a first-round wide receiver 2 years ago whenever Old Man Rodgers joined the team. I know that seems like a lifetime ago. He is in for a massive season. He is going to see a ton of targets because the Jets just have downfield receivers, and they're constantly going to be trailing on the scoreboard.